The walkable way goes nowhere. The spoken name names nothing. The beginning has no name. Naming creates everything. Without desire, you see deep. Desiring, you see shallow. It's one and the same. Naming makes the difference. Together they go deep. The depth opens to an abyss. Everyone knows beauty, hence ugliness. Everyone knows good, hence bad. If not one, then the other. Heavy weighs light. Long measures short. Up holds down. Noise creates tones. Back follows front. Therefore, do without doing. Teach without words. Create without excuses. What's born is not yours, and can't be relied on. When finished, don't stop. Keep moving. Carry on. Why career only for rivalry? Why wealth only for theft? Why desires only for unrest? To rule. Keep minds empty, stomachs full, wishes weak, bones strong. Nothing to understand nor wish for. Who understands, does nothing. Act without acting, and nothing remains undone. The way is empty, yet still abundant. All comes from death. Sharpness blunts. Fetters unravel. Brightness dulls. Dust remains. All remains. I don't know where it came from. Even God doesn't know. The world doesn't need things. They are like straw trinkets. The sage doesn't need people. They are like straw trinkets. The world is empty, like bellows. Every squeeze gives a result. No need to talk. Just focus. Deep in the valley lives an eternal spirit, like a grandmother, and the world flows out from her dark hole. For everyone's use, always available. The world is eternal. It needs nothing. Therefore, it persists. The sage keeps behind, but appears in front. The sage keeps out, yet appears inside. Who wants nothing can get anything. Goodness is like water. It does not quarrel. It's beneficial for everyone. It goes to low places. It's like the way. Earth is good for home. Deepness is good for mind. Kindness is good for company. Trust is good for words. Order is good for rules. Skills are good for acts. Time is good for affairs. Who doesn't argue, has no troubles. Doing all at once is impossible, and so not needed. Over sharpening ruins the blade. Wealth collection leads to defense. Self-exposition leads to falling. When finished, move on. That's the right way. While holding one, leave the other. While relying on gentleness, be a newborn. While looking in depth, be clean. While wanting to rule, know things. While offering chances, be female. While knowing everything, do nothing. When something is born, let it grow, and let it go. Ruling without governance. That's the might of depth. Spokes keep the wheel together. Yet the hole in the center makes it useful. A vessel is formed from the clay, yet the hollow within makes it useful. The holes left in the wall for doors and windows make the room useful. The needed has to be done, the missing is useful. Too many colors, but nothing to see. Too many sounds, but nothing to hear. Too many flavors, but nothing to taste. Hurrying and chasing make chaos. Expensive goods make insanity. Sages fill stomachs, not minds. Taking one, leaving another. Favor and disgrace frighten the same. Honor and shame seem personal. Why do favor and disgrace frighten the same? Favor leads to disgrace. Getting favor frightens, losing favor frightens. Therefore favor and disgrace frighten the same. Why take honor and shame personally? Only a person can be ashamed. With no person, who could feel shame? Who values the world like oneself, may govern the world. Who honors the world like oneself, may care for the world. Looking without seeing. Invisible. Listening without hearing. Silent. Touching without feeling. Unknown. The three voids together create the one. Not bright above. Not dark below. Endless and limitless. Coming namelessly. No shape. No thing. Confusing and dim. Approaching. No face. Leaving. No spine. From deepness you can rule the world. From abyss you can understand all. That's the way it goes. The old sage stays in shadow. Unnoticeable and deep. His deepness cannot be recognized, yet appearing. Cautious as when crossing a river, timid as those fearing their neighbors, polite as a guest, evanescent like melting ice, simple as a stump, empty as a wide valley, confused as muddy water. Still, until the mud settles. Moving, when seeing clearly. On the way you'll never be full. Old gives way to new. Stillness persists in void. Here, all are coming and going. Here, all are returning. Returning is stillness. Returning to destiny. Destiny gives persistence. Persistence gives knowledge. Without persistent knowledge, we are condemned. Persistent knowledge will open up all. The opened is still. The still is royal. The royal is right. The right has way. The way will last. The body will leave painlessly. The highest, we know. The next highest, we love. The next, we fear. The next, we despise. Trust creates trust. Who achieves, receives. When finished, just leave. Let them think it happened by itself. Without the way, kindness and righteousness appear. With wisdom, hypocrisy and falseness appear. With family quarrels, love and respect appear. With rebellions, faithful servants appear. Without wisdom and cleverness, huge benefits appear. Without kindness and righteousness, love and respect appear. Without success and skills, thieves and robbers disappear. These are just decorations. Rather, be simple and natural, without wishes and wants. If there's no wisdom, there are no worries. How differ yes and no? What's good and what's bad? What to fear and what to regret? Pointlessly, endlessly. Joy and party in spring. People have all come out. I'm just quiet like a kid without laughs. Indifferently, irreversibly. Everyone has so much. I don't have anything. Confused, stupid. Everyone is in the light, I'm only dim. Everyone is so smart. I'm only whirless like an uncertain wave. Everybody knows what they're doing. I'm only primitive. I'm only different. I love my nourishing mother. Great might follows the way. The way is dim and shady. There are shapes in the dim, in the shade. There is being in the dim, in the shade. There is substance, truly. There is trust. From ancient times up to now its name has been not lost. How do I know this? Just because. Who is ill gets well. Who is crooked gets straight. Who is dirty gets clean. Who is withered gets fresh. Want little, get a lot. Want a lot, go mad. The sage knows the right one. He doesn't show off, just embodies. He doesn't justify, yet he is just. He doesn't praise, yet is praised. He doesn't compete, and no one competes with him. It's long been known. Who is ill gets well. For sure. Only to return. The words are still. The thunderstorm calms down by noon. The downpour fades by evening. They are made by the world. If the world cannot do it any longer, how could you? Therefore, follow the way. Who follows the way is a way. Who follows the might is a might. Who follows the mistake is a mistake. Way holds the wayfarer. Might holds the mighty. Mistake holds the mistaken. Trust creates trust. How long you can stand on your toes. How long you can walk at a fast pace. Showing off doesn't make you shine. Self-justification doesn't make you right. Bragging doesn't make you great. Self-importance doesn't make you important. On the way, these things are not needed. Nonsense, waste. On the way, they do not come. Something emerged from chaos. Before the world, void and still, one and the same, everywhere, permanently. So came the world, too, maybe. I don't know its name. Let's say, way. The name doesn't matter. Or, great. Great goes away. What goes, that returns. Great way. Great earth. Great sky. Great king. The king is the fourth. People have the earth. Earth has the sky. Sky has the way. Way has the way. Lightness is based on weight. Peace controls the unrest. The sage carries a heavy load in daytime, leaving it in peace at evening. How else could you take the weight lightly? Taking lightly, the base is lost. With unrest, control is lost. A good walker leaves no trace. A good talker doesn't stumble. A good counter needs no fingers. A good closer needs no lock, but you cannot open. A good knottier needs no rope, but you cannot open. The sage cares about everyone, leaving nobody aside. His light is carried on. The sage teaches the ignorant. The ignorant learn from the sage. Who doesn't learn from the sage, makes mistakes. Strange? Who is man, has woman? Who is the river of the world, is the river of the world. The mite remains, the child returns. Who is bright, has the dark. Who is the measure of the world, is the measure of the world. The mite isn't lost, eternity returns. Who is honest, feels shame. Who is the valley of the world, is the valley of the world. The mite is still in abundance, simplicity returns. The simple clay becomes pots. The sage becomes the ruler. The great does everything without doing. You cannot change the world. The world is full of miracles. When touched, it breaks up. When taken, it gets lost. Some are in front, some are in back. Some inhale, some exhale. Some are strong, some are weak. Some appear, some disappear. The sage leaves the needless, leaves the useless, leaves the void. Way has no fight. On the battlefield thorns grow, the largest army will fall eventually. After striking, leave be. Who achieves, receives. Who achieves, doesn't judge. Who achieves, doesn't brag. Who achieves, doesn't run. Who achieves, doesn't take. What if you are old and weak? The way keeps you alive. Arms don't bring happiness, on the way, they're not needed. the best of us are thinking. During at peace, I will stay on the left, and in war, I will stay on the right. Arms don't bring happiness. The best of us don't need them. Use, if necessary, but peace is the best. You can win, but painfully. The killing doesn't bring relief. Seeking relief with killing won't fulfill your wants. In good times, on the left, in bad times, on the right. Squires stay on the left, officers stay on the right. As always in bad times, as always at the morning, when there are very many dead bodies. Victory achieved, come down to more. The way never has a name. It's natural and unnoticeable. The world doesn't change it. When the king is on the way, all the people are with him. Heaven comes on earth, rain becomes sweet, no orders are given, and everything is fair. Orders have names. In names, there is the end. Who notices the end, will stop. Who stops, will be protected. The way is like a stream that takes the river to the sea. Who knows others, is smart. Who knows oneself, is enlightened. Who wins others is strong. Who wins oneself is mighty. Who needs a little, is rich. Who needs a lot, has power. Who stops and stays, survives. Who dies and doesn't get lost, lives long. The great way widens everywhere, and everyone widens with it. It influences. It doesn't need a name. It takes nothing. It takes care of everyone, governing nobody, wishing nothing. Actually, it's small. Everybody comes with it. It doesn't govern anybody. Actually, it's great. It must not be great. And so it is great. Stay great, and everything comes to you. Everyone is satisfied and protected. Everyone has peace and stillness. Music and candies delight travelers. Way has no taste. Look at it, nothing to see. Hear it, nothing to hear. Use it, endlessly. First widen, then taper. First strengthen, then weaken. First build, then demolish. First give, then take. This is subtle clarity. Delicate and weak win over strong and hard. The fish has not been caught from the depths. The people have not been shown deadly arms. The way doesn't do anything, and nothing remains undone. When the king is on the way, then all around him settles. If somebody wants to rearrange something, then by being nameless and natural, he will calm down soon. The unnamed and natural don't want anything. No desires. Stillness. Peace in the world. The highest might isn't mighty. It has might. The lowest might is mighty. It has no might. The highest might doesn't do anything, and nothing remains undone. The lowest might does, and a lot remains to do. Kindness does, and nothing remains undone. Justice does, and a lot remains to do. Customs do their doings, and nobody can ignore them. Attack will follow immediately. Without way, might remains. Without might, kindness remains. Without kindness, justice remains. Without justice, customs remain. Customs enclose the trust, but also are the beginning of unrest. Foresight is a blossom on the way, but also the beginning of stupidity. The sage stays in the core, not in the crust. In the fruit, not on the blossom. Abandoning one, take another. Once upon a time, the one and the only was found. Heaven has the only clarity. Earth has the only strength. Spirit has the only might. Valley has the only abundance. All have the only vitality. The king has the only honor. For all of them, it's the one and the only. The clarity of heaven may darken. The strength of earth may break. The might of spirit may dissolve. The abundance of valley may end. The vitality of all may perish. The honor of the king may fall. From honor, humility arises. Honor stays in humility. The king can humble himself, but why? From honor, humility arises, but not so. Demolishing doesn't raise anything. The pearl is in the garland. The gem is on the ground. The way takes you back smoothly. Everything comes from what exists. What exists comes from what doesn't exist. The smart students followed the way. The average sometimes follow, sometimes don't. The stupid just laugh. Without laughter, there wouldn't be the way. It's said, therefore. The bright way seems dim. The way to go seems to come. The smooth way seems rough. The highest might seems low. Cleanliness seems dirty. The Almighty seems incomplete. The strong might seems powerless. Honesty seems suspicious. The big square has no corners. The big task never ends. The big sound is unhearable. The big thing has no shape. The way has no name. It's in shadow, it yields and completes. The way gives one. One gives two. Two give three. Three give all. All embrace dark. All wear bright. Vitality together. The man avoids humiliation. The king humiliates himself. What disappears, comes. What comes, disappears. Others said already, I'll say it, too. Obstinacy will not pass by itself. Delicate wins over strong. What isn't goes where there is. Just as benefits come while doing nothing. Words are not needed. Actions are not needed. Few understand. Your name or yourself? Yourself or your wealth? Getting or giving? Wanting much, spending much. Collecting much, losing much. If enough, you're out of shame. If stopped, you're out of danger. So you last long. The best seems incomplete, yet doesn't end. The perfect seems void, yet doesn't finish. The straight seems crooked. The skill seems awkward. The good speech seems stuttering. Move and get warmth. Calm down and get coolness. Clarity and peace organize all. When the world is on the way, horses are manuring fields. When the world is not on the way, horses are guarding borders. Wishes bring evil. Restlessness brings trouble. Wanting brings misery. Going out is not required for understanding. Looking is not required for seeing the way. The further you go, the less you know. The sage knows without moving, sees without looking, has influence without acting. Who learns, grows. Who follows the way, disappears. Who disappears, yields. Who yields, does nothing, yet has influence. Do nothing, and get. Do, and get less. The sage doesn't think. The people think with him. Good for the good, good for the bad, good for the mighty. Trust for the trusting, trust for the suspicious, trust for the mighty. The sage is calm. Peace spreads. People listen. All children. Who is born, dies. Some are alive, some are dead, some are alive and dead. Because they want too much. There were travelers, who in the woods feared not tigers, and in the battle feared not weapons. Tigers find no space for claws. Swords find no place to lodge. Because there is no death. The way gives, the might adds, the matter forms, the being makes. All respect the way, all value the might. No force, that's the nature. The way gives, the might adds, rules, leads, nourishes, and protects. It gives, and doesn't take. Does, and doesn't need support. Directs, and doesn't govern. Deep might. The beginning of the world is the mother of the world. Who knows the mother, knows the child. Who knows the child, takes care of the mother. The body will leave painlessly. Shut the mouth, shut the gates, no worries. Open your mouth, argue everywhere, only worries. See the small, and become clear. Hold the gentle, and become strong. Use the slight, and return to clarity. No worries. Persist to accomplish. A little wisdom is enough to stay on the big way. It may seem too easy, and people fear deviation. So they go to narrow pathways. Huge castles, abandoned fields, empty warehouses, rich clothes, swords on belts, meals and drinks, hoarding, bragging, looting. This is not the way. What is well planted cannot be uprooted. What is well kept cannot be taken away. Respect lasts through generations. Might of influence grows in yourself. Might of wealth grows in the family. Might of stability grows in the village. Might of generosity grows in the country. Universal might grows in the world. So you see you and yourself. Family in family. Village in village. Country in country. World in world. How do I see the world so? So I see it. Who has a lot of might is like a newborn child. Wasps don't sting, snakes don't bite, birds don't peck, predators don't attack. Bones soft, meat tender, grasp tight. Not reproducing, but prick upright. Full of vitality, cries without losing voice, in harmony. Harmony leads to persistence, persistence leads to clarity. Who supports life, is happy. Who leads the spirit, is mighty. What if you are old and weak? The way keeps you alive. Who knows, doesn't talk. Who talks, doesn't know. Shut the mouth, shut the gates. Sharpness blunts, feathers unravel, brightness dulls, dust remains. Endless identity. Neither familiar nor strange. Neither helpful, nor harmful. Neither worthy nor worthless. It has worth here in the world. Virtue rules the country, cleverness rules the war, nonchalance rules the world. How so? Bans create poverty, weapons create unrest, invention create perversions, laws create thieves and robbers. The sage does nothing, and people act by themselves. The sage remains calm, and people become right. The sage doesn't worry, and people become rich. The sage wants nothing, and people become natural. When the king is carefree, the people are happy. When the king worries, the people suffer. Happiness encloses misery, misery is inside happiness. Where are the boundaries? No righteousness leads to crooked pathways, goodness becomes suspicious, unrest spreads. The sage is righteous, but doesn't cut. Sharp, but doesn't stab. straightforward, but humble, bright, but doesn't dazzle. The best ruler is indulgent. Indulgence is flexible. Flexibility is mighty. Might is influential. Influence is limitless. Ruling without limits, live long as the mother. Deep-rooted, strong-trunked. Take the long way, see life. Ruling the country is like cooking small fishes. If you rule following the way, evil disappears, and bad people lose their power. Doing no harm to anybody. Like the sage, who does no harm to anybody. Doing no harm to each other, either. The powers of might reunite again. The big country goes down like a willing woman in this world. Yielding, the female takes the male with satisfaction. When the big country goes down on the small, it takes the small one. When the small country goes down on the big, it takes the big one. One wins going down, another wins being down. The big country has to take care of the people. The small country has to serve the people. Big should be low. The way is the base for all. Valuable for the good. Protecting the bad. Flattering with nice words, pleasing with honors. But why abandon the bad? Valuable gifts are presented at coronations and promotions. Keep your rank, and follow the way. Once, the way was considered valuable, and there was a saying. The seeker finds, the accused is set free. Therefore, the way was considered valuable. Do without doing. Act without acting. Taste without tasting. Small big, little lot. The might removes the evil. Solve the hard while it's easy. Solve the big while it's small. Hard was easy once. Big was little once. The sage does nothing big. Therefore he does big. Nobody believes easy promises. Easy now, hard later. For the sage, everything seems hard. Therefore nothing is hard. The calm is easy to maintain. The unpredictable is easy to do. The crisp is easy to crumble. The crumbled is easy to disperse. Deal with what's not yet born. Rule what's not yet complex. The tree trunk begins from a tiny sprout. The highest tower begins from the ground. The longest journey begins with a single step. The sage doesn't make, and so doesn't break. The sage doesn't take, and so doesn't lose. The others fail frequently before the end. Consider the end before beginning, and nothing fails. The sage wishes without wishing, without wanting anything, without learning. Approaching everyone, seeming natural, doing nothing. Once the followers of the way did not educate the people, leaving them in the dark. Too much wisdom complicates governing. With wisdom, rob the country. Without wisdom, bless the country. With both, the depth is seen. In depth, the might is seen. Mightily returning with pleasure. Small streams are ruled by big rivers and oceans, always lower. Governing, stay low, ruling, keep back. When the sage is above, the people are light. When the sage is in front, the people are happy. Everyone is delighted, nobody despises him. All consider their way great, yet those ways smell bad. Greatness smells bad, small is cleaner. I appreciate three priceless things. One is love. The second is care. The third is humility. Love makes you brave. Care makes you generous. Humility rises. Who is brave with hate, generous with waste, or rises shamelessly, will perish. If the fighter loves, he wins. Heaven and love protect him, forever. The good commander doesn't combat. The good soldier doesn't get angry. The good winner doesn't fight. The good leader is low. This is the might which doesn't fight. This is the power which rules. This is true, forever. A commander once said, "I'd like to be a guest here. I'd better retreat." That is, forwarding without moving, preparing without opening, winning without meeting, arming without arms. If you want misery, despise your competitor. Who despises their competitor, loses all. Wins only who is sorry. My words are very easy to understand and realize. Nobody understands and realizes. Words come from the source, accept reasons. Who doesn't understand the source, doesn't understand the words. Some understand, some value. The sage wears plain fabric, golden heart. Knowing that you don't know is wellness. Knowing that you know is illness. The sage is well. He knows his illness. He is well. If power doesn't scare, it's great. Don't break homes, don't despise. Who doesn't despise, is not despised. The sage knows himself, but doesn't show. Loves himself, but doesn't rise. Keeps useful, leaves harmful. Angry courage kills, calm courage saves. It's your choice. Some things are not right. Why? Even the sage doesn't know. In the right way, there is no competition, yet winners. No talk, yet answers. No call, yet comings. No trouble, yet settlements. The web is big and wide and sparse, yet holds. If nobody fears death, then why executions? If death is feared, and mistakes made, then we have to execute. Who could? The supreme executioner executes. If you want to replace him, you are like somebody who tries to cut wood on behalf of a great carpenter. Cut his arm with axe. People suffer. There's lots of taxes, therefore the people suffer. It's hard to govern. There's lots to do, therefore it's hard to govern. death doesn't matter. There's lots of life, therefore death doesn't matter. There's more than just life. The born is delicate and weak. The dead is dry and strong. The trees and grasses are delicate and flexible at first. When dead, hard and dry. The hard and dry die, the delicate and weak live. Strong arms don't bring victory, hardwood is breakable. Delicate and weak win over hard and strong. The right way is like an arching bow. The top lowers, the bottom raises. The excessive decreases, the missing completes. The right way takes from excess, and adds to the missing. The human way adds to excess, and takes from the scant. Who shares from abundance, follows the way. The sage does, and doesn't need support. Completes, and doesn't stop. Doesn't show abilities. The most delicate and weak is water, always winning over hard and strong. Weak wins over strong, delicate wins over hard. Everybody knows, nobody does. The sage takes the dirt of the country, and rises to the throne. Takes the troubles of the country, and rules the world. The right word seems wrong. Feuds fade, anger remains. What's good with that? The sage fulfills promises, without demanding anything. With might fulfill promises. Without might demand others to fulfill. On the right way, no familiars. Only the righteous. Small country, few people. Lots of things, few in use. Death matters, no long journeys, carriages and boats stay put. Arms out of sight, plaiting ropes. Good meals, nice clothes, safe homes, pure pleasure. The neighbor country is seen, roosters and dogs are heard. No need to bother, aging and dying in peace. Honesty is not nice. Being nice is not honest. The good don't argue. Arguing is not good. Who understands, doesn't know. Who knows, doesn't understand. The sage doesn't store up anything. The more he gives, the more he gets. The more he does, the more remains. The right way does only good, no ill. The sage's way has no competition.